Hello, everyone. So Con's gonna make it today, so you get us like budget cons times four. Yeah. So today we'll be doing something a bit different. So we usually have a team up here. Cons grills them, the whole community mobs them. But this time we've brought the Nucleus team. The Nucleus team is the team in charge of substrate and the blockchain. And so we can scream at them today. So usually we get to mob different subnets. Now you guys broke the chain. You get to harass them. No, so the Nucleus team is pretty much the backbone of Bittensor. These guys are the tireless workers. They fix so much. Um, they fix so much that goes on unseen. So it'd be good to understand from them what they're cooking, but most importantly, Uni V3. I mean, as a subnet owner, I'm like, bro, I'm just finally getting detail. Why are you messing with my liquidity? So I think Greg and Sam are here to tell us about everything about Uni V3. What bumps in the night. So without further ados, we'd like to hand it over to Greg.
All right. Actually, Sam, do you want to step in first
Sure.
and just
just some general
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So we just did a mainnet deploy like 20 minutes ago. So luckily, I'm not here to tell you guys that we bricked mainnet or anything like that. But yeah, we had a few fixes go in related to some of the Uniswap stuff, some of the staking stuff, just a few random sort of errata. But that's live now. So mainnet's on 292 now, I think. So that's done, and then yeah, I think without further ado, let's pass it to Greg.
All right. Yes, like Sam said, both Sams said, I'm going to talk about Uniswap, which we released just this Monday and fixed today. How was it before? So before we operated on Uniswap V2, which is protocol only liquidity, which is DTAO. We had once we switched this year to DTAO, we enabled alpha prices that can be changed, can be traded against. The pool liquidity pool had tau liquidity and alpha liquidity and current price in between them. So how this used to work, and I'm telling about V2. It's already the past, but maybe somebody doesn't know how it worked. But we had the current price, tau liquidity, and alpha liquidity, and the more users were staking, the more were buying alpha, the more price will go up to the right, and the less people were staking, the more price will go left. So it was pretty simple. What changes with V3? To that same picture, we are adding the user liquidity now. So as a user, and I need to say right away that before it is enabled, before the user liquidity is enabled in the subnet by subnet owner, nobody can use it, nobody can provide liquidity. But if subnet owner enables user liquidity, then the users will be able to add their own liquidity to the pool and act like liquidity provider. The benefit. Yep.
Okay, so sorry. Let's take time to digest that because it's a lot of information here, and I have I already have some of my miners going. Oh, we need to unlock Uniswap V3 so we can provide liquidity. So it'd be really interesting to you to explain what are the motivations. So as a miner, as a big subnet or tau holder, why do I care? Why should I care for this? Like, I just want my dumb V2 liquidity pool. So yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah. So firstly, there are some beneficiaries of that. It's not just so first of all, of course, the users benefit of this most, the providers of liquidity. So because Now you can provide liquidity, and I'll be telling this later, but we just say the price at the price range as exactly as the protocol liquidity from 0 to infinity, and or to maximum price. And you'll be earning fees as the other users keep trading against your liquidity. So because you're providing liquidity, you get rewarded. The fees are currently they're 0.3%, and we'll talk about this later. But right now they're 0.3%, and that's what gets distributed between providers, liquidity providers. So that's the first benefit that actually users get from, or whoever owns liquidity, whoever owns Tau and stake alpha staked on the subnet can provide them and earn more fees. The other benefit of that, and that's more of a speculation. I can't talk real numbers here, but the more liquidity is provided, the less price is going to move left or right. So we're fighting volatility. That's probably that benefits subnet owners mostly, because as a subnet owner, you probably don't want to your alpha price to be very volatile. That's probably the biggest one. Another benefit of that, and it's really hidden, but you can, and again, I'm going to talk about this later. Uniswap V2 doesn't have, or if you ever trade it on Dexus, it doesn't have limit price. I'm sorry, limit orders. And Uniswap V3 works. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it works as a limit order because you can provide liquidity at a very, very narrow range. And once price crosses your liquidity, it gets turned into the opposite side. Like if you're providing it on a higher level than current price, you provide alpha, and it basically gets sold at that price.
Okay, really interesting. Let me let you get back to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone, we have Cacti. Anyone that doesn't know Cacti, he is one of the founding fathers of AMMs. So he'll probably be able to answer the harder questions.
I'm glad to have you. Okay, so I was dealing with a few questions as after the release, and let me just try to overview. So first of all, is V3 enabled by default? No, the V3. Well, actually, the user liquidity is not enabled by default. So it needs to be explicitly enabled by subnet owner. But there are some things that change. And first of all, the limit price, and I've got this a lot this week. The limit price, how we handle limit price is different from how we used to handle it. Before then, it was probably a design mistake to implement limit price as an average price of the trade. But right now, limit price is a true limit price, which means wherever the price stops, when the swap happens, this is where we this is what limit price means in the swap or add stake or remove stake parameter. Another difference is fees got very much simpler. Before then, we used to take just a constant fee, then the flat rate fee, then the fee with rate based on the APY of the hotkey, and we were choosing the maximum of this and applying to the transaction. Right now, we don't do this. We just apply flat fee to all staking operations.
Okay, so I know everyone wants to kill you over that 0.3%. So let's just put a fork on that, and we can explain it later, because we want to understand the justification behind it. Does it save space? Does it reduce computation? So we'll look forward to that at the end.
First of all, it just removes complexity of the fees. we used to charge, especially on the ad fee operation, and sometimes it was more than 0.3%. So I don't understand people who want to kill me because it's basically better now. But yes, so it's making the transactions lighter, cheaper in terms of gas, and just it makes the code simpler as much as you can make it simpler with Unicode with Uniswap V3. Okay, so the other question I was trying to answer is how to provide liquidity, or what do I need to provide liquidity? And that's something to wrap our heads around, because it really depends on the price range. But if you think of liquidity as a limit order, it makes much more sense. If the liquidity is if you're providing liquidity above the current price, then you just need to provide alpha, because basically you're selling alpha. If you providing liquidity below the current price range, then you need tau, because you're basically buying alpha. And Uniswap V3 also allows you to provide liquidity where the low price of the position is lower than current price, and high price of the position is higher than current price. Then in this case, you provide a mix of tau and alpha. If we have time left, I can explain how we calculate this mix, or I just allow our.
So
Yeah,
this
go
is
ahead.
really this is really interesting, because I think Voon schooled me. I didn't read the code, and I just assumed the stake with limit was a limit order. So now that we get this, then we can have like deeper price discovery in alpha pools, because you can build an order book of where the liquidity ranges are. Is this correct?
Yes, basically it's similar to order book. The only difference is that in the real order book in CEX, you basically say at what price your order sits, and in this case we say at what price range the order sits. But which I think is way more robust, and it gives you so much less opportunity to game the system. It's much more I would say stable for trade, for price, and for price discovery. But yes, you're right. I think it's pretty much like an order book. Also, another thing. So again, so I mentioned this briefly, but the of course the question will be how to choose the price range. So what do I need to? If you look at the Uniswap V3 UI, they help you a little bit with this, but they don't help you decide what price range to choose. Of course, they just let you choose it. But it all depends on your goals. If you're providing liquidity, if you're planning to provide liquidity and earn fees, I would probably use the wider range, and the more so that the price never goes out of the range. Because if the price is out of the range, the fees are not earned. If you choose the price range that is too wide, of course, it will be earning less fees than if you guess the price for today, let's say, the price range for today, and only provide the fees in this range. But that's the art of providing liquidity. I'm not even trying to speak about it. I don't know anything about it.
I think let's give that to Katai
Oh yeah.
when you're done, because he has a lot to say on it, especially with the dark side of Unity 3, which I think people will enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, so the narrow price range works as a limit order. We just put the price as a very concentrated liquidity which executes at once the price crosses this liquidity. Also, if you're working with if you're trying to provide liquidity for collecting fees, for accruing fees, you would like to know how to collect them. So we have a magic BTC liquidity modify function that will allow to modify the liquidity slightly, but the side effect of this is that the fees are claimed and credited to the cold key and hot key in case of your choice. In case of the in case of the if alpha is provided, if alpha is withdrawn. I think yes. This is. I was probably yeah. So if we have questions about how to what is liquidity, how to calculate alpha, and then I'll be ready to answer them. But yeah. So this is all for my slides. Let me open the beautiful picture.
Okay, so before we open the floor, let's get Hayden Adam, sorry, Cacti on stage. So I met Cacti in Ojai, and he's general awesome person, and has a very first principle understanding of what we're getting into, and he's one of the architects of detail. So Cacti, this is pretty cool. So where do you see in this design space, like what do you see subnet owners doing? What are the risks, and how can we mess it up?
Yeah. Well, I have quite a lot of thoughts here. Of course, I'm not very good at predicting. Otherwise, I would have made a lot more money off of detail than I have.
Doesn't matter.
But I will say, I do think that it will essentially become one of the problems that subnets have is bootstrapping liquidity. Some of the top subnets are getting quite deep liquidity, but it will be possible very quickly now that users can provide their own liquidity, especially over concentrated ranges, for them to take alpha that they're earning through either the subnet owner percentage or from running a validator, take external tau that they've bought on the market and be able to, allow traders to move more liquidity through their pool. And I think that's going to become a significant advantage for teams that opt into doing that because they'll have, lower slippage, allow more volume, allow more players to get involved. So that would be my prediction for how subnet owners get involved. I imagine though it depends on how like rewards shape out with, trading volume, but I imagine there will be a whole new class of participants that are either just LPing and being very sophisticated about it, picking narrow ranges. There's a type of MEV called just-in-time liquidity where you will provide liquidity right before swaps, essentially at the exact price that the swap is going to execute at, and make the trade extremely efficient. And you yourself, because you provided so much liquidity at a small price, collect all of the fees from that swap. And I think, essentially we'll have a new class of participants providing liquidity and, further improving the DTOW mechanism. The concentrated liquidity pools also allow for you to provide prices over different ranges. So it allows you to emulate DCAing out of a position or into a position at different price levels. It allows you to emulate options payoffs if you so choose. There's a lot of cool protocols that attempt to do this on Uniswap V3 currently. And overall, it's just making the markets, God willing, more efficient. It's quite a complex addition. So I know Greg and I have had a lot of headaches getting it on chain, but really happy that it's going live.
Wait, one second. Just can you tell them about the simulations you guys had to do? Because I was talking to Greg about this and it sounded absolutely nuts.
This is actually, so I'm more of a traditional programmer, but my co-founder is a mathematician, and he's like, we have to prove the correctness of this thing by doing millions of swaps and double checking every piece of math in every direction with supplementary math that should match exactly the same. So towards the end, when we were trying to find correctness, and we were doing several runs every night of millions of swaps, and checking that all the fees were just by random chance run into bugs that we would have never found otherwise, like when numbers get really close to zero, we would need to do a quick trick to wrap around to positive infinities so that we could correctly handle the accounting. Like there's all of these very, very hard to catch bugs that we were able to find through this process. And so we've pretty strongly battle tested adding liquidity, removing liquidity, claiming fees, obviously swapping in all of the directions. It was quite the process. I know Greg and I had a lot of we'll air quotes fun building it.
It was a lot of fun, yes.
Okay. So one question I have is what what happens to emission? What does the emission landscape look like in with Uni V3?
Yeah,
Oh, it
so for
doesn't
now,
change.
it doesn't change. Liquidity will be provided from the standpoint of the protocol over the price 0 to infinity. So it will be exactly like providing on a V2 curve, but users can opt into providing liquidity over narrow ranges. We have started to have conversations around potentially having the protocol provide liquidity at different ranges. Potentially to mitigate effects of things like root selling or achieve other goals. Those are probably a ways out before we get comfortable enough to do that or have enough hard research to support doing that. But for now, it does not change.
Oh, sorry. Small brain moment. But what is the So how is your how is your emission determined now? Because if it's all based on the liquidity and your price. But if people can prop up prices by, or can people prop up prices by messing with the liquidity?
So they cannot. Initially when we launched, some people were still thinking that price was the ratio of the amount of alpha versus the amount of tau. It's no longer determined that way. It's determined by a state variable in the pool that sort of tracks where we are along this x-axis in Greg's diagram. And so you cannot manipulate price by adding or removing liquidity. And I really don't think it has any effect on how emissions are determined. It'll still be done by your price over some of alpha prices. So no real effect in that direction. It's mostly just around market efficiency and trading.
Okay, I'm gonna pretend like I understood what you said and move on. Okay, let's go to the chat and see if we have questions. Yeah,
Greg,
it's all. Sorry, Karen.
Greg, if you have anything to add on what I just said, I think that was all correct.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's probably still possible to provide a lot of liquidity on one side so that it creates pressure, selling or buying pressure, but it's not much different from what we see in other exchanges, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll put a fork in that for now. So, what else are you guys cooking? What else is around the corner? What should be, what are you going to surprise us with? Oh, I think the chain decentralization stuff is pretty interesting. Unfortunately, Liam isn't here. Is any Sam, Greg? Can you guys talk to it?
I can speak generally to it. So, I mean, the general plan is it's of course going to be in stages. I think the first stage is going to be decentralizing the triumvirate multi-sig a little bit. So I think one of the models that's been thrown around that's probably what we'll do first is every couple of months a different slot on the multi-sig will go up for like public election. So basically like over time we'll have like random community members get to serve on the multi-sig. So that's like the first step, but eventually there's going to be much more, much more to that. Like, you know, the ability to like decentralize like the validators and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's the piece that I think we have some clarity on. It's like probably the next step.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that, Sam, because I totally left that bit out. So, one of the things that, before the OTF finally dies is, we need to fully decentralize the chain, both the soft layer, which is the governance, but the chain layer. So I haven't really kept up with the debt to the OTF. Yeah. I haven't really kept up with the soft layer, but I believe he's done a lot of work on like mapping out the code and he's done God's work in actually showing us how do we get to that state of decentralized nodes. Because, again, we had to survive. We needed POS, but for us to grow into this anti-fragile, thousand-year, eternal AGI federation, we need to be decentralized. So the trend to decentralization is a massive, social technical endeavor. And if you go to the Church of Rao channel on POS, you can see a video Liam's posted, and it's actually blows my mind the level of engineering that's gone into doing this. So yeah, change decentralization is happening soon. Although we suspect the level of testing we need to do before we get that out is probably like 3 times of what detail of the testing we did with detail. So yeah, it's pretty excited. Like, yeah, the Nucleus team keep pushing forward. Okay, does anyone want to come up? T-Slice, you want to come up? Ref? Anyone have anything to say? Karat? Agentic Toaster? Hey, T-Slice. Yo, Mr. Slice, how's it going?
Yo, I was just eating some pizza.
You are having a slice. No way.
I did not mean to do that. Yeah, but I was definitely having a slice. Yeah, I wanted to ask. I asked in the chat here, so now that I'm on stage, you're gonna have to answer the question. It is, are the LPs that people add for the V3, are they staked in a validator? And secondly, what happens to the yield on alpha that you put into a V3 pair?
Technically, they don't need to be staked into validator. They can be staked into any hotkey on the network. And they will be, because once you provide, that's important detail. Once you provide liquidity as a liquidity provider, this liquidity stops earning dividends, and it only earns trading fees. So there is no double earn on this. But yes, you can. You can stake into any hotkey and then provide liquidity. Yes.
Okay, so in this incarnation of the V3 just launched, or the V3 LPs, people are foregoing yield on their alpha for the trading fee. And
Yes,
somehow
yes.
they and the way that people select the hotkey or whatever, this is all command line only at this point, right? So people are selecting in there as part of the process of
It's
doing
command
acquisition?
line. Yes, but I've heard a rumor that there's a UI common. I don't know. It's
yeah.
when and but I'm pretty sure I'm spoiling I'm spoiling something right now.
I believe Tastats already has it.
I was gonna say it's could be that.
We also have all of the, well, I won't say all, I'll say 90% of the math worked out for how to have LP positions be staked to validators. It's actually quite complicated, and so we definitely did not want to like push that out in this one upgrade in one shot, like a massive amount of math pushed onto the chain. But it is possible, and if if nobody LPs because they don't want to forgo dividends, they don't want to take on price risk, it'll be something that we definitely consider allowing people to do. Or at least I'll push for it. I don't know what the guys at OTF will want to do, but
that makes sense. And as part of this upgrade, did I understand right that now is there a 0.3 fee across the board, like on the V2 pairs, or are those still with the other one, and it's only if it's in the range of the V3 it gets that fee? Like, or have you as a fee system switched for the out of the box V2s?
It's a system wide fee. Like for any staking operation, it's going to be 0.3%.
When you stake and unstake, both ways.
Yes, or you stake, unstake, or move. But we're thinking about making the fees lower, actually.
And if it's going into the V2 pair, where is it going towards? Where does it just thicken the?
That's an excellent question. Right now, even in V3, like in this picture, you see there is the protocol liquidity still takes place. The whatever was in Tau Reserve and Alpha Reserve previously will be converted, or actually is already converted, to protocol liquidity, which is just another protocol liquidity position. And just like any other positions, it collects fees or accrues fees, except it can never collect them because it can never modify them with the modify extrinsic, or it can never withdraw them, withdraw this liquidity. So we are still deciding what to do with this. Probably we will just waive it and say subnet owner.
Oh my god!
Yes.
No, incredible.
We actually have the math in place, ready to be implemented, that allows just one position to not collect fees. So another idea was to just add these fees to the liquidity and keep growing the protocol position. So there are different.
So they're accruing
ways
somewhere. They're accruing somewhere. That's it. Basically, they're just accruing somewhere.
Yeah. They're just basically
added to the LP at this stage. They're just they're accruing somewhere.
They're accruing in this huge position. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, they accrue in like this magical escrow that nobody can touch right now. Obviously, if you're a real user, you can call claim fees and actually get those out and then decide what you want to do with them. So we have the math worked out.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Are you saying anyone can just call claim fees and rape the
on your own position if you're an LP?
Okay,
You mean probably we don't have this extrinsic yet. But a workaround is to claim modify by very little amount, and this is going to be
guys. But what if we gave this to the subnet owner?
The V2 fees. The V2
every fee.
Yeah. Well, you can't give every fee because whoever puts the V3 position needs to earn the fee on that. But the V2 pair is sitting there, right? So like that's
yes, it is.
Yeah, so
I think the subnet owners will be quite happy.
Subnet owners would be thrilled. I'm more in favor of not giving it to the protocol and just giving those rewards, redistributing them to the other LPs. So I think there's a chance, because there's so much more protocol liquidity than liquidity coming from end users right now. They will be getting, like, of the 0.3%, the protocol will be getting most of it. So once we push this, I'm in favor of pushing this upgrade to have these fees go to actual users, so that it's much more you're much more incentivized to actually provide liquidity.
That could be a place to direct it, because like you say, like people here, okay, they're earning 0.3%, but it's only proportionally your V3 position compared to the other LP positions, including the main V2 pair, right?
Yeah,
so
over a range of liquidity. So if you do a very narrow range of liquidity, you can take up, with a relatively small amount of tau and alpha, much larger percentage of the liquidity over that range. So you can still do quite well. But that requires some more sophistication. So I'm still in favor of not having these fees collect to the protocol position in a way that's like unclaimable, and later we have to make some sort of pseudo call to decide what to do with it, but rather just giving it to LPs. But it could be used to incentivize other things. Maybe we give it to chain validators, or we give it to, I don't know, subnet owners, as was just suggested.
No. I was joking about subnet owners, but you dovetail into a very interesting bit, which I don't think we have solution for. It's like, how are we going to fund the chain validators? Because if things are successful and like more people move to, are we going to always be in a state of dual liquidity, where it's V2 and V3? Or do we expect everyone to move to V3? Because if not, then the V2 liquidity phantom money seems like an excellent way to fund chain validators when they're ready.
Yeah, so technically, we've just been saying we're in a V2/V3 world, but in reality, everything is V3 under the hood. It's just whether or not users can provide liquidity or not. So the V2 position, as we've been calling it, is actually a Uniswap V3 style position. It's just provided over the range 0 to infinity, and so it behaves like the normal Uniswap V2 constant product curve.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Because you can do that when you
I
set
think,
a V2 position. You can set the full range if you don't want to
Exactly.
be in a particular range. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's a very interesting way to potentially fund chain validators. There's a few other ideas floating around, like on occasion when sum of prices is, can't remember, I think if it's less than 1, we emit slightly less tau than the 1 tau per block. So when that case hits, we can take that sort of marginal tau that's not emitted at each block and give that to chain validators. I've heard that suggested. There's a few things that you could do.
Alrighty then. Okay. I don't think Evil Cons is coming on stage. He's not allowed to today. Ben from Latent is releasing 9.8.3. The man's a workhorse. I think he's chucked out 4 versions in the past 2 days. Okay. Thank you guys for having me today. Vote for me to come back next week because con sucks. And yeah, if there's no other questions, we'll see you next week or whenever. Bye.
See you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.